Hathaway, Catwoman herself, exploded into Hollywood in the early 2000s, starring in The Princess Diaries, The Devil Wears Prada, Brokeback Mountain, and The Dark Knight Rises. She was everywhere, establishing herself as a prominent figure in the industry. Today we welcome back Hollywood hairstylist and legend Emanuel Millar, who will be sharing his experience with Anne Hathaway on the set of 2008 Get Smart, which he describes as a not so positive experience. So let's do it, guys. Let's get into it. Mr. Emanuel, welcome back. Again, it's an honor. Thank you so much for speaking with me. Miss Anne Hathaway, 2008 Get Smart. Tell us what happened.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you for that intro. Well, I was working with Tom Hanks on the movie Charlie Wilson's War, and I got a phone call that Anne Hathaway, they're looking for a hairdresser for Anne Hathaway. Well, on Charlie Wilson's War it was the lovely, lovely Emily Blunt. And Emily was very sweet, every day, lovely. So one day I went up to Emily, even though I was just doing Tom's hair. I went up to Emily and I told her that I had been called to do Anne Hathaway's hair, and what did she think? And she said, her first reaction was, "Oh, Annie will love you." She said, "I'll give her a call and tell her all about you." So I thought, oh, that's a nice hint that somebody's going to call an actress and say, "Oh, you're going to want to work with this guy. He's wonderful." So I thought that was going to carry through, because I ended up getting the movie Get Smart with Anne. As soon as we met, I could tell there was an aversion or a disconnect between us. And it felt as if, I don't care who you've worked with. I've heard who you've worked with, but I'm Anne Hathaway and I'm the star, and I'm going to be the only star in this trailer. My daughter was her stand-in while we were shooting the LA portion at Warner Brothers Studios. She knew that, but not once in the trailer did she say, "Oh, your daughter, she's my stand-in," or "Do you have any other children?" or "Are you married?" Never asked me any personal questions, which most actors do. They want to find out, where are you from and how long have you been doing hair, or compliment you. Not from Anne Hathaway.
Well, that is a sucker punch to the gonads.
I do truly admire her talent and her dedication to her craft. But yes, I have seen some videos and I've read some stories, suggesting that she can be a little demanding, a little difficult to work with. But she looked amazing. I find myself paying attention to everyone's hair now. So what you did, she looked great. She looked beautiful. So you get the job, you meet. Wasn't so great. You're in production now. Did her energy, did the vibe continue? Was there a specific scene or moment that stood out?
One of them was during when Anne was wearing a dress that the designer was so proud of. Apparently, I heard it was an $80,000 dress, handmade, looked like little washers. Anne was telling her makeup artist Nikki Lederman that she needed a disguise, a look. So I opened my wig trunk and pulled out a little bob wig with bangs. And I said, "How about something like this?" And Anne laughed at it. She scoffed at it, basically, pretty much. But Nikki Lederman said, "Oh, I like that." She said, "Oh, well, let me try." Anne said, "Well, let me try it on." That wig ended up making it into the film, and everyone raved about how amazing Anne looked in that wig and how terrific. Never once did Anne say, "Well, this was Emanuel's wig," or "He pulled it out of his trunk," or "He came up with it at the last minute." She took full credit for that.
Is that a wig?
Yeah, it came with the dress.
To me, this is just my impression. I think that's how Anne keeps herself feeling secure, is that she has to remind herself that she is a star and other people are below her.
Wow, that's so tough. That was actually my favorite sequence, from the dancing to her and Steve Carell working the infrared beams. It was funny. It was a lot of fun. It's a little sad to know that, these things can happen. As the audience, we only see the final product, the final movie. We're entertained. but we don't really realize that that sometimes there is a movie happening within the movie when you're actually on set, right?
The worst was when I was working with Tom Hanks on Charlie Wilson's War, as I mentioned. They were going to do reshoots. So I told the production that I could do the Get Smart movie if I could be released for a week to work with Tom Hanks. Well, as time got closer and closer, when I told her, I said, Anne, I need to replace myself for the week of doing your hair because I'm working with Tom on these reshoots. She didn't say a word. She just sat there. The next thing I knew, I get a visit from her manager, not a very nice woman. To me, she wasn't, who came to scold me on set and walked into the trailer when all the actors were done and Anne left. The first thing she said was, Anne's not happy with you. She went and told on me. It's like I felt like I was back in high school, that somebody would, instead of Anne having the courage to say, Emanuel, I really would like you to try to be there. Is there any way we could work it out? No, you don't talk about it. You just go talk behind somebody's back. I called Tom and I told him, Tom, I'm not going to be able to do your hair. Tom said, well, do what you need to do. And that's when I called a hairdresser that I had worked with on Spider-Man 3 in New York, Sasha Quarles. Tom Hanks' production was kind enough to please Tom to fly in whoever I suggested to replace myself. And at this point, everybody was aware that Anne Hathaway was being difficult. And so they had to make allowances for that. So the plan was Sasha Quarles would fly in. I would meet him the first day of shooting in Santa Clarita. I would show Sasha my routine, what I did with Tom, what exactly I did to get the look, to create the look. And then I would need to rush off and head from Santa Clarita down to San Pedro. And anybody driving in LA traffic at 8 o'clock in the morning knows that that's at least a 3-hour drive. After I finally made it to the Get Smart set, that's when I was pulled aside, and I was reassured that everything was fine, but I was pulled aside by the first AD and said, Emanuel, be careful, because Anne was telling everybody during rehearsal how unprofessional you were to do what you've done. And that's when it made me aware that it wasn't just my senses telling me that Anne had an aversion to me. Now I knew for sure. Now here's the beauty of her doing something like that to me. By this time, I'd already had even though I wasn't doing his hair, I had already had a nice relationship with Dwayne Johnson and Steve Carell. They'd see me every day work when they would work. Pete, the director, the first AD, everybody saw how professional I was, never kept the set waiting, how great Anne looked. So if we started the movie in February, by May, I pretty much had an audience, a positive or happy with me audience. To sum it up, everything I said is true. And I would welcome if Anne heard this and she said, oh, I didn't realize I was that bad. Trying to say it in a positive way, she's a very good actress on and off set.
I nerd out every time we talk because I love hearing, all these stories. But, this one is definitely a little sad. But I think you did the best that you could. So congrats to you again. And I mean, she was beautiful. She looked amazing. You did an amazing job. So Mr. Emanuel, thank you again for sharing. Whatever the preparation necessary before filming begins, or if it's the pressure of Hollywood, we truly never know what's happening behind closed doors. But if Miss Anne was going through something at the time, I truly hope that she's in a better place today. Miss Anne, if you're watching right now and would like to share your side of the story, you are more than welcome. It would be an honor. Guys, today's episode is a tease of a much longer conversation. Not only did Emanuel work with this iconic Catwoman actress, he's also worked with 4 Batman actors, which we'll be getting into next week. If you haven't already, get your copy of the Kindest Cut, Intuitive Life Lessons Learned by a Hollywood Hairstylist, Emanuel's epic memoir filled with so many Hollywood stories, which took 2 volumes to tell. Read it, enjoy it. Also, a quick super shout out to all of you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you all so much. We just hit another milestone and are now over 200,000 subscribers. This would not be possible without all of you, so thank you so much. We are the Justice League of YouTube. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for believing, and we'll see you soon. Cheers.